People want to portray Jesus just being all loving, letting people be comfortable living in sin, not doing anything to help them. He was just sitting with sinners and not trying to help them. He was just all loving, all nice, just letting people do whatever they wanted. Let me read you something that changes that narrative. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 says this. Jesus, after telling his disciples that they're going to be persecuted for going out in his name, right? He tells them, he says, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to this earth, to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." Verse 35, "For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household." That's verse 36. Jesus came down here to separate families. He had to save this world. In order to save this world, he had to separate people, those that were willing to follow him and those that were not. He didn't come down here just being all loving. He tells us he didn't come down here to bring peace. He came down here with a sword, because in order to fulfill prophecy, he needed to save, and in order to save, he had to be stern, and he was standing on business. He was not letting the Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes sit over here and do whatever they wanted, worried about their political status. No, he was calling them out, saying they were wolves in sheep's clothing. And if you go in Matthew chapter 5, he tells us that everything that you once knew from the Old Testament that were switched up and changed by these Pharisees, no, I say, right? He says that I say, and he changes all of the rules. So we have to understand that, yes, Jesus is loving and he was saving, right? But he was not letting people be comfortable living in sin, right? It tells us in Matthew 9 that he didn't come down here for those that were righteous, but those that were sinners, because he knew that they needed to be saved. He pulled Matthew out of sin. Matthew was a tax collector. He pulled Matthew and said, "Follow me." Like, you got to think about it like that. He was not just sitting over here letting people do whatever he wanted. He was rebuking people, and he was sitting over here pulling people out of following sin and being departed from him for eternity. So with that being said, God bless you.